Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the high probability watch list and the S&P 500 update for the week of April 29th. Alright, so again, I'm going to actually split this video kind of into two videos. Instead of you sending out, for the members sending out two videos, you'll have both videos together, so you don't have to worry about the S&P update, which I'm going to start right now. So this is what we had last week. Last week I did an S&P update, and what we really wanted to point out was this perfect bullish flag that was sitting up here. Gave me a bullish outlook for the week, and looking for that rally out of this flag. And you can see the stochastics. The reason we're looking at this is everything that the high probability indicators, kind of the methodology really points to, the recognizable patterns, the oversold stochastics, the underlying indicators that are lining up, the underlying trend line, the moving average, and of course the flag, combined with the stochastics getting oversold. So everything was, unless you could talk yourself out of it for some reason, saying, well, it's the May trade, we need, it's going to start pulling back, we're going to, but that would have to really prove itself. And what happened was, you can see exactly what happened here. We broke out of that flag, and we did what we needed to do. Now, the next thing we want to look at, and this was really a very good week for the market. The market looks ultra strong, looked very strong, looked like just a continuation pattern moving up. And, again, everyone's still concentrated on the May trade. I think there's a lot of bets out there that we pull back a little after May. But I'm always one to say, you put too much focus on something, that something becomes irrelevant, and the market does whatever it's going to do. Just because too many people are looking at it, they might be shorted into. They might be, they might be influencing the market in some way, and that's usually the wrong way. So we're watching this level now. This is the next thing I want to really pay attention to. Is if we can look back here, and when you look at histories of reversals or breakdowns, what are some of the clues you want to do? Well, you want to be overbought, or there's something, or some kind of signal that's going to tell us that we're going to start to break back down. So we always talk about the market making higher lows and higher highs. That's important. That's there's a lot to go over, a lot of education in this chart in itself. But you can see back here in this upward trend how we kind of flagged out, pushed higher, pulled back, pushed higher, but didn't get through that recent high. And that's usually one of the signals, is we get back up here, we get back into an overbought level, we get very close to it, but we fail to make new highs. And that's kind of a little warning system. Now, it kind of chopped around here for a couple weeks before, and again, this is a daily chart, well, actually a couple days, excuse me. The daily chart right here. And then we just, that really started that last pullback. And this pullback was basically 120 points on the S&P 500. And it was a healthy pullback. If you zoom out here, you could just see that the overall trend was intact. We moved up, we pulled back, corrected, and we pushed up a little bit higher. So that was a healthy correction. And even in the case that we get a pullback here, if we look for a 100-point pullback off of 1596, called 1600, we're talking 1500. We're talking to a pullback eventually, maybe down to that 1500, 1480 level. That's it for those people who believe that this might be the beginning of something to the downside. But that really, we need to really cross over. We need to start to lose momentum. We need to break this trend line underneath us. There's a lot of things need to happen before that, that really takes place. We're getting close to that May trade. So we're going to find out, I think this week is, on Wednesdays, May 1st. So we'll, not to put too much pressure on the May 1st. I don't really, I think we're going to do fine no matter what the market does at this point, because the next part of this video has some great setups on it. But it's always it's fun. It's fun to be part of the market like this, to see how it reacts. Personal opinion going into next week, it's a tough call. I think the market is getting a little extended. I can tell you a longer term, I don't think the May trade is going to play out like everyone's expecting. I don't think it's going to be an exact May trade. I think, if anything, we could consolidate. But later in the summer, I do feel like we are going to push higher. So, in this May trade, it might be a little volatile. It might be a little choppy. But overall, I'm looking for that trend to continue. No big correction on in the near future. If there is a pullback, and it'll be a slight pullback, and something that everyone will jump on board thinking it's the it's the May pullback, but in fact it'll probably take those people out, and we'll look for a move higher into that. So again, I think it really comes down to just good quality stock picks, you know, following the indicators, making sure that everything performs correctly. If we do get that crossover and the trend line breakdown, yeah, we got to start to look at the downside momentum here and things, what we could do with this. How far is this going to last? I don't really know. You know, I don't think too many people are going to know, but I do feel like the overall bias is to push higher, and that should, you know, that'll bring us into next week. So let's start off with looking at some stocks now. Well, I just want to also go over one educational portion of this. When you go back, we're going to go back to this last week's chart when we looked at this. There's a method I call the 3-day break, or what, you know, we're going to try to label. It's a pullback that, you know, is 3 or more days of a stock pulling back or not making new higher highs. You know, love to see the lower lows, but basically I want to see the lower highs for 3 days in a row. So lower highs for 3 days in a row. After that point, you know, you buy the first break of the of that, you know, that new high on the day of the previous day's high. So basically you're looking at these things. In an uptrending thing, this works the best because it's usually a flag that represents, or some kind of bullish pullback, and it gives you a good risk reward level. So we call this the 3-day break of a recent high. You have more than multiple days here, 3 or more days of downside, and then you take that first break of the previous day high. I like to wait till the end of the day to see if, you know, how strong that is. If we close higher, you could actually take that trade for that follow through. All right, with a stop underneath that low, that day's low. So you can see that played out each time that plays out. Especially now, you're going to add a new rule to it, and that means only take this. You know, this trade becomes very important when your stochastics get under 40. Better to be closer to 20. You know, but it's okay to get down into an oversold level. You start to see the signals lining up. The real key is that break above the previous day high after a three or more down day move. Really, what's represented is a trend is still intact. It's just a pullback, and it's giving the best risk-reward trade. So this was actually a good break of. We got oversold last week. We did break a previous day's highs, and again, like I said, you could see the follow through. What happened with that? We broke out and we followed up. Now we're very close to over, you know, the all-time highs again. Do we break a higher than them? I honestly think we do. But whatever happens in this point, we got some great setups, and here they go. So just remember that rule: 3-day break of the high, or high, you know, still gotta put it in the right contents. But basically, a break of the previous day's high after 3 or more down days, especially when the stochastics are oversold in an uptrend, is a tremendous buy opportunity, one of the better ones. So if you could actually recognize this setup plus the oversold level, that's a 1-2 combination for a move higher or a move lower if you're taking that downward trend. That would be an overbought situation. The same scenario, you know, long or short. Right now you're dealing with a bullish market, so you just continue to, you know, take the opportunities when they are given to you because you have better upside potential here. All right, so now to the watch list.